morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming. For those who don't know me, my name's Andrea, and I'm a whole life coach with the Dr. Detox. We're giving, if anyone hasn't registered, they can pop their name and their email down. We're giving out perfect day manuals. That's what we usually do when we give a health consultation. So in that you can create the perfect day. So physically, mentally, and nutritionally. So this is a QR code. So if you just scan that, you'll be able to download the perfect day manual. Okay. Also, we just wanted to promote some of our therapists that are working in Melbourne that have done the course already. So we've got a couple here tonight. Would you guys want to come up? You want to come up and say hello? This is Barbara.
Hi, I'm Barb, and I've just become a qualified New World practitioner. So I'm setting up a space in my home with a bed, and I'll be able to offer Wolfe non-surgical and perfect day consultations. So my phone number is 0407 404 160. If I had cards, they'd have red ink on them right now, so I don't have business cards yet, but that's coming. So just encourage you to enjoy tonight's session and see what you can get out of it. It's just been fantastic.
Thank you, Barbara. Anybody else? How else have we got? Anyone else? Andrea?
Hello, my name is Andrea, and I did the course also. I am a dog dental hygienist, but I'm wanting to incorporate the protocols not only to help people, but to help pets. So that's what I'm wanting to do, is use these detox skills to help pets. That's where my focus will be.
Yes, well done.
My phone number. My business is Canine Dental Hygiene Services, but that's where I work now. I clean dogs' teeth, but the number is 04 9007 8262.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? We've got anyone else? No?
Yes.
Louise.
Hello.
Louise.
Hello. Welcome everyone. So my name is Louise Karamaris, and I too completed the whole life practitioner certification and the Wolfe non-surgical and the pelvic floor restoration. I'm still refreshing my skills, but the area that I really want to offer everyone here and anyone that's listening and watching is in the area of personal coaching, health coaching, and also executive coaching. So if that's something that resonates with you and you want to reach out, by all means give me a call. So my number is 0438 033 434, and I just want to commend our beautiful host here and also Dr. Sage as well. So enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay. Alright, so Sage is actually doing treatments at my place in Eaglemont. We do have a couple of spots left, so if anyone is interested in having a treatment, my number, I've got my card at the back here, but my number is 0420 313 255. So if you'd like a treatment, just text me and we'll sort out a time for you to come in. There's a few spots left.
Limited.
It's
Limited for sure.
Right, yes. But yeah, just text me if you have. Anyway, we'll pass it over to Dr. Sage. Enjoy.
All right. right, well, thank you everybody for coming. Really appreciate it. I hope this evening is enlightening to you in some way, shape, or form, and you get some tips and tricks on learning how to find that essence inside you that really wants to arise. So what is Wolfe Non-Surgical? And this is an old modality because my boss, he's been doing it for quite a long time, and I just kind of, over time, I've been doing it for about 10 years now. I've kind of refurbished it and changed a little bit of the structure of what it means to go in and not be dependent on surgery. Making surgery your last option. People don't realize they give their bodies away way too easily. And if somebody's coming to attack you, you're going to normally do something about it. But the medical system has only been around for the past 100 years. And we're allowing them to come into our homes, our friends and our family, and say that your body is not going to heal itself and you're not able to change. And that's kind of where we want to say we want to put our foot down, and you truly can. Given the right circumstances, given the right mindset, and given the right nutritional balances of what you truly desire. So what is Wolfe Non-Surgical? That is going to deal with, and you're going to hear it even if you go to the doctor, but they're going to make it seem like, oh, you're not smart enough to understand. It's scar tissue crystallization and calcification. And where does that come from? It comes from, yes, physical injuries. We can get into an accident, and I make this analogy in every single one of my lectures. When you're a child, you can break a bone. A lot of the times, the doctor, as you're going to get that cast, they're going to say, the bone's going to be stronger. But as we age, why does that not want to happen anymore? Because that child, that little essence of God, comes from a parasympathetic. They are so close to what we call our creator, of whatever you want to call it. And so in that situation, their body, they're excited. They go, they break their arm. Yeah, sure, it was like an alarming situation for them at the time. But they go get a really cool, colorful cast. They're going to school. They have friends signing that cast. They're happy about it almost. It's like an experience to them. And so that body part will now heal stronger than what it was prior to that, given the right circumstances too, because that also child can be given certain foods and dietary restrictions from the parents that are not allowing them to heal in the right way. And then also, what kind of environment are we living in? As we age, if I break a bone, or grandma falls down and breaks her hip, or I break my ankle, I'm now debilitated. I'm pissed off that I'm not able to go to work. I'm kind of having to hobble around. And when was the last time you were really angry? You were really angry and you were like, I'm going to go for a salad. I'm going to have a juice. I'm going to go for a nice walk. It's pretty rare. And so a lot of times when we're in that negative state, our body, we release 3 main hormones, and that's going to be histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. And so that is going to go into the area and cause certain inflammations. And as we age, yes, we get nutrient deficient. We have all these certain ailments that happen to us. And it's the cascade and the compounding that ends up breaking down our immune system. And so if that happened to me, everybody has it. You can go to the gym, you can work out too hard. We have lactic and uric acid throughout our whole system. And so that's why you feel a little sore afterwards. And then generally, it's fine that you have the lactic and uric acid in your system, but what is not fine is me not being in a parasympathetic state and being okay and happy and in the present moment with what's going on, that I release that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. And so you'll go to the doctor and they'll say, oh, it's bone on bone. There's calcification in the area. Oh, yes. Oh, that's you. Okay. That's you. And that's okay, because the thing is, there is stuff that we can do to get that calcium back into the bones, given the right environment. And so you go to the doctor, they say it's bone on bone. You have big scar tissue buildup around your hips, your spine, causing whatever. It could be scoliosis, carpal tunnel syndrome, fibromyalgia, endometriosis. It doesn't matter. It is all a scar tissue issue. And it's not that you just have the lactic and uric acid in your body. Maybe I come home and my wife pisses me off a little bit, and I go to choose not to eat the best foods. I choose not to hydrate my body properly. And so now I'm releasing that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, which actually is taking that lactic and uric acid, and it'll turn it to a crystalline. That crystalline, and you will see it under a microscope, it gets tough and fibrous. And after now you have crystallization. So there's like levels to it. Scar tissue is the umbrella that we're dealing with. So you have histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol binding that lactic and uric acid, causing it to be crystallization. Then I think I have the same mobility and I can move around freely just like I would normally, but you're slightly limited and you don't realize that. And then we constantly compound those tears, and now we have some form of scar tissue mass. And you ever feel in your back, it's like really tight in one area, or you have like a little bit of a bulge in your trap muscle, and you're like, why does it feel hard? So now your muscle tissue has so much lactic and uric acid in it, it's not crystallized, it is now turned into a scar tissue formation. And we allow that to grow long enough and strong enough, and our bodies continue to release this lactic and uric acid, it will end up calcifying. So when they say they see it bone on bone, you have no cartilage left in the area, that's not technically true. But yes, you can get so dehydrated, you can get so debilitated that you don't have the proper amino and fatty acids in your body, that you don't have proper synovial fluid moving within your joints. And now we're compounding to create that scar tissue buildup. And when we go to look at it on an x-ray, it does look like bone on bone, because now I've taken calcium from certain parts in my body, my bones, because most of the people don't get proper calcium or proper nutrients coming in to actually heal. So your body says, I'm under attack right now. I'm going to have to steal your bone density to bind into the area to wall off the pain, because you don't want to live in constant pain. That's not what we're meant for. So by us creating scar tissue, it is your body trying to save its own life. But we don't realize that this all stemmed from diet, emotion, yes, physical injuries, and just not treating ourselves properly. You've been given a gift from God. You have and most of us, and we're blessed with it, we have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears. How beautiful is that? We are so blessed to just be able to come in here right now, to be able to hear, see me, walk yourselves here. But we live in such a fearful anxiety state all the time. It's like, she said this to me, he said that pissed me off. There's not a lot of times where I'm in a parasympathetic state, where I'm truly happy. And that's what's going to really set the body off. And so, as we're binding this scar tissue, you can constantly tear and compound. And then it's going to change your structure a little bit. As that structure changes, it's like, first it was my low back, then it was my pelvic tilt, then it's now my knees. Now it's coming down to my ankles, because things are out of alignment. Your body is too acidic. You're not staying in the present moment. And people need to realize that they need to let themselves and let their family members go and let their friends go that are causing them to live in that acidic environment in itself. And so what does your daily basis look like? And so do you wake up with a smile on your face when you look in the mirror? Do you say, wow, I'm so beautiful and I'm happy with who I am? Because if that's not your true answer, your body is going to be acid. And that's what we are. And so we need to really monitor where we're at emotionally. That's huge. And people don't realize that a lot of this, though, also stemmed from us not having proper bowel movements and malabsorption. And you can have a good diet to a degree, but did you remove the old waste that caused the stagnation in the first place? And so, with our large intestine, that is our holy grail. That is 80% of our immune system right here. And over time, we can have this, it's a very thin lining. It's called your peritoneal. That lining will replenish every 7 to 10 days, depending on your health state. But we break down that lining, not 1 week, not 2 weeks, not 1 year, not 2 years, but multiple years in a row, compounding this. And like, we're coming up on Christmas right now, and I totally get it. Like, it is the holidays, but people are like, well, it's the holidays, I just have to cheat and be bad. Who said that? Who said you deserve to poison yourself? Why does that make your holiday any better? That's going to make you grumpy and stumpy, just like Santa Claus was. He's around, ripping around, eating cookies every day. Why do you think it's so hard for him to get down the chimney? And so we got to be mindful of this stuff, everybody. And so you're breaking down that peritoneal lining. And so it's not that you break it down once, because that lining does replenish itself, but we're compounding that lining to break down so it's never refurbished in a proper state. And so now we have what 98% of the population has, leaky gut syndrome. And so that leaky gut syndrome is now I'm leaching actual fecal waste into my bloodstream to cause tissue and bone disintegration, because once again, your body says, hey, I'm under attack. I'm going to start leaching that calcium. And you don't realize that taking those painkillers, it's not doing anything. It's like a house on fire that's going unchecked. The fireman's not coming. So are you getting the proper water intake? Are you getting the proper nutrient absorption? And some people, and I get it guys, like changing your diet is tough. Because when we go to eat these cheeses, these sugars, all this processed food, it releases what we call our daily dose. And you can get that daily dose in so many beautiful ways opposed to killing yourself. But that daily dose is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those are your gentle, loving chemicals that will heal your body. The negative ones, remember, it's hack. It's histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. You ever tried to like hack something up that you really just can't digest? Well, you can't digest fear, you can't digest anger, but we can take all these emotions that we go through on a daily basis and use that as a driver to become something better. Why did you get angry in the first place? Use that as motivation to get out of that stagnant spot. Why did you allow that person to set you off? And was it actually something that they said that could have been true? That, you know what, that just didn't resonate with you well? That's where it's taking our time for ourselves. Waking up in the morning. And so when we're doing this stuff, my body's not perfect. Nobody's body is ever going to be perfect. We live in a very toxic environment. We have tons of EMF everywhere. There's cars, there's trucks, there's planes, there's trains that are releasing all these gases and chemicals off that we're breathing in constantly. You have the Wi-Fi on in your house at night. You're not drinking your proper water. You're not getting the right mineralization in your water. You're not getting the proper nutrients in your body. But I have all these people come and they could be really overweight, they could be underweight. It just depends on where your dysbiosis is going on in the gut bacteria. But people are like, Dr. Wolfe, I've been on a diet for the past 3 weeks and I haven't seen changes. Okay, how long did you try to kill yourself for? And that's the main thing. It takes 6 months to change your microbiome within the gut. And that is a full refurbish. It's not like, and so I tell people it takes 9 months to birth a baby. It'll take 9 months to birth a new you. And that's if you're in a decent, healthy state. But if you're in a toxic state, just know, and you're above the age of 35, 40, you got a year to 2 years of good, hard work. And that's the fun of it. You had a lot of fun getting unhealthy. Now your body doesn't really feel that great. Why don't you make it a fun enjoyment to get healthy? Sometimes it's going to go up and sometimes it's going to go down. But that stagnant waste that's getting stuck in here, maybe even because I'll have people on a really bad diet and then they want to change it. And then they're on salads and juices and all this really good stuff for them. But they're like, oh, it's not working well for me. And I'm like, because you never worked well for yourself. You put a lot of acid into your body. You release too much through your emotional state that you're not getting proper absorption. So do you start every single day off with gratitude? What are you grateful for? These are things that we need to wake up and say, I have my arms and my legs. I'm able to get up and get my own glass of water. My family's still alive. Even the ones that have passed, wow, they're on a beautiful new journey. I need to be at peace with these things. You either need to take acceptance of life the way it comes, or you need to take action for yourself, because you're not going to change your family. You have a hard time changing yourself. And so why the hell are you going to try to change somebody else if you can't even do the right things for you? And so waking up every day, first thing in the morning, you should be getting in a really nice tall glass of water. It should be some form of either really good filtered water with nice minerals in it. We sell structured water. Structured water is what kind of I would say God created. It's like a fast running river, a nice moving stream, a waterfall. As it's churning over these minerals, it doesn't matter. You could put toxins 3 miles up the road into that water. If you're running it through all these minerals and rocks and dirt, by the time you're going to get to the bottom of the waterfall, that's going to be decent enough water for you to drink. If your gut bacteria is in alignment with being at peace. But sometimes things will set you off. And the healthier you get, the more pushback you're going to get from the outside. I've been here and there, I try to do really good fast for myself. I'll go on a water fast. I try not to do too long of a water fast because I'll notice my body can't really tolerate it for too long because I don't have a lot to lose. I don't have a lot to clean up. And so then my energy levels stoop really low, especially while I'm outputting and teaching all the time. And so I just got back from a training in Sydney. I train all around the world. I'll be back in February to teach the Wolfe Non-Surgical here. Then I'll be back in, I think it's July. We're going to be doing the whole New World Practitioner here. We do it in Ixtapa, Mexico at a beautiful resort. We do it all around the world. And so we don't just do this to learn Wolfe Non-Surgical. It's amazing to go in and be able to say, wow, that's a scar tissue crystallization calcification issue. You have adipose tissue. What is adipose tissue? It's beef jerky. You leave a steak out on the table for too long, it's going to dehydrate. You don't put enough water into your body for too long, it's going to dehydrate. It's the exact same thing. Your body's 72% water. Your cells are 96% water. So if those aren't constantly flushing, you're going to have some form of dehydration and debilitation that's going to come in a cascade down the way. So within our cells, that is like a huge thing. We got to clean out the waste first. But within our cell membrane, on top of each cell membrane, they look like little hairs. And those hairs are hormone receptors. And so are those hormone receptors getting the right hormones to them to actually come into the cell itself? And most of us that were in science class can kind of remember our science teacher would always say, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That is what creates our ATP, that gives you energy, that helps clean things up. So if you have a really clean cell and you are on your game, every time that cell has a full revolution in that mitochondria, you release 2 units of energy for the average person. Or if you're really healthy, you're in a parasympathetic state, you can release 32 units of energy. What would be better, 2 or 32? And so 32, yeah, you all pass. So beautiful. And so that is what's going to, and so people are like, oh, I've been doing this cleanse for a bit and it's not working. You know what? Maybe your hormone levels are off. Maybe you're not getting the proper hormonal balance coming into the cell to set the cell off to get that full revolution to hit those 32. Because I want that 32 units of energy. I don't want to just be walking around like everybody else getting those 2 units of energy, because I can only output so much and then I feel sluggish by the end of the day. And so we got to do a cellular cleanse of some sort. And that's going to start within our gut membrane, which is the large intestine. The large intestine, we have all different pockets. On my right side, I got my cecum. That cecum is connected to your small intestine. And you have a valve right there called your ileocecal valve. That valve can get stuck open or jammed shut. But most people's are stuck open because there's constant food, constant waste coming into here. That's why I say fasting is so important. And a lot of people will be like, yeah, I do intermittent fasting about 16 hours a day. And I'm like, okay, but like, do you not see where your body is at? Anytime you're going to go into a prolonged fast, once you hit around 24 hours, your body's going to go into ketosis. And then once we're in ketosis, that's good. We're going to start using bad fuel as energy. But once we hit autophagy, we're going for the killer cells. Your body's not going to attack the healthy cells first. We're going to go for the cells that have truly been damaged. And so we want to go in to like elongated fasts at times. And people are like, but I'm starving. No, your parasites are starving. And so that's a fact. If you got any form of skin issues, eczema, hives, chronic urticaria, you have any form of leaky gut issues, endometriosis, fibromyalgia, constipation, diarrhea, and most people are like, oh, I'm constipated. No, constipation is going to be where you're stuck. You can't poop, so we got to pop the cork. You're way too dehydrated. We might need to do some form of like enema, a really good cleanse to get that out. But most people are compacted. Today I got a little turd. Tomorrow I had a regular poop. Now I have diarrhea. Nope, I missed a day. That is going to be more of the constipation than compaction. A lot of people are compacted. And so if we see that there's like kind of a little bit of a gut hanging out, it's not just fat cells. It's not just fatty liver. And there's tons of things. I can give you tips on how to just clean a fatty liver so naturally you don't even need a product. But we got to go in and we kind of have to hit things a little harder if we have any form of autoimmune issue. And an autoimmune issue can range from, I get major migraines every day. So there's something going on where your cells are not taking onto it properly. And so by what we do, saying we get you on a perfect day diet, there's not one person in here that it would be the exact same. I would have something, some different structure for each and every one of you. Some of you I'd put on fasts. Some of you I'd put on only maybe like berry drinks and steamed and grilled vegetables, because you can't even handle salads because we have too much waste stuck up in here that as soon as I put a salad in, it's going to ferment and putrefy. And most people don't realize that if they're not cleaning out, it's going to cause that inflammatory issue within our joints, ligaments, tendons, and all of that. And people are like, okay, this is starting to make sense now. And then it comes down to the emotional aspect. We all have emotional, and I hate the word trauma. You've had an exciting life. You came here to have an experience. You came here to be sad, be happy. Man, sometimes I want to break down, and I'll allow myself, but for how long do I want to stay in that breakdown for? How long do I want to stay angry for? Because I know as soon as I'm staying in that state, that emotion is controlling me. I'm not controlling that emotion. So get out, go to the beach, get yourself out into some grass, go ground yourself, charge up with some negative ions, do some breath work. People are like, I just needed to go have that cigarette to calm down. I just needed to have that glass of wine at night to calm down. You would have got the same results from 10 minutes of great breath work. And that great breath work is going to put you more into that parasympathetic. And where does disease come from as well? Yes, we've caused it from all these cascades of diet, nutrition, emotion, but it's oxygen present within the cells. If we don't have good oxygenation within our body, which is going to be now damaged, so it's like there's so many levels to this. You can never go to one doctor and say, here's one pill that fixes all. Good luck. Good luck. You're going to have a masking of it. And that masking is just going to put you off into another direction of where something else might go wrong. We got to learn to constantly change and be so mentally strong of saying, no, I can't do that. I got to do this. Or I'm going to push myself to do this. Because your body, your subconscious is so damn strong. It's stronger than your conscious mind. There's a lot of times where I just fall off, and it's okay to fall down. But make sure you're falling forward. Pick yourself back up and continue along the journey. Because I can fall off for a day, 2 days. You let it go any longer than that, you're letting yourself be susceptible to taking on some form of negative entity, if it's a bacteria, a virus, a feeling, where you will start to get controlled by it. And you let it go long enough and strong enough, and mom's just like that. She's miserable all the time. Because that's the life she's allowed herself to live. That's the life I've allowed myself to live. But when are you going to say enough is enough? You deserve more. And that's what I'm here to do for you guys today, is just wake that little spark up to say, you deserve more. I'm not here to bag on anybody saying your diet's bad, you're overweight, you're underweight, you're toxic. We're all toxic. We live in a toxic world. And that's the fun of it. Can you migrate this game and say, no, I'm going to be the ruler of mine? And then the things around me, sure, some things will try to attack, but it's a challenge to overcome. How many, think of all the traumas that you've been through to get you here. And people go back on it all the time, and it's like, my brother died, and it's like, get over it. You think he cares? He's on a new journey. Now it's time for you to take that action in yourself and say, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to live through love and light and make sure I'll live for the both of us. Make sure I'll do this for me, and because he'd be so proud. She'd be so proud. I want to make myself proud every single day. And it's not because I want you to look up to me, or I want to look up to me. I want to chase the guy who's going to be me in 10 years from now. And then you're going to ask me when I'm 35, Sage, are you there yet? Not even close. But I'm still working at it. And I'm going to until the wheels fall off. Because if not, what's the point of being here? Then just live a toxic life. That's fine. You're going to live in misery to a degree, because feeling these aches and pains doesn't make me feel good. When I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, I have to say it's time to look outside and make it the right side of the day. Because I want to make whatever I can, all these obstacles, all these trials and tribulations, it brought you to where you are right now. And I think you're so perfect for who you are, but be better. Strive for perfection and know it's not achievable. Because you know that every single day we got to do more. We got to push harder. You're going to have friends who are going to push back at you too. And so as you do, if you do choose to make these changes, A lot of the family and friends around you are going to be like, oh, you're looking pretty good. Maybe you should eat some pizza. May, you're doing really good. Want to go out for some drinks. This is the stuff to bring us back down. And so we really got to be adamant about saying, you know what? I'm here to grow for me. I might have to let go of you. And that is okay. You need to make peace with that not everybody's going to agree with you. The more you bring your vibration up, the less friends and family you'll have around. And I think friends and family are great. I just don't have a lot of them I trust. And that is okay, but I know I'm in this game for me. Nobody's going to do it for me. Nobody's coming to save me. I know I have to do it for myself. And so that starts with self-love, honor, integrity, and respect. And that's why we have like a perfect day mantra. And it's in the perfect day, but we put that on you want to have it on your mirror. If you feel like you're somebody who's always in the dumps, you need to either create a mantra or go print it off and have it on that mirror in the morning. And you recite it to yourself 10 times. And that's going to be today and every day. I'm going to honor, respect, protect, love, and care for myself. First and foremost, before anyone else or anything else, so help me God. Because I can, I will be healed. And you need to make this, because a lot of us, we don't feel it right away. It's hard. There's too much around us that's going to be bringing our vibration down. And so you really need to work at it every day, day in, day out, until the wheels fall off, because you deserve the best life ever. You deserve to live in peace, enlightenment, and not feel so debilitated from any of these issues. And yes, if it's a scar tissue issue, we might need to go in and do something about it. Like I said, it starts in the gut. You're going to notice a lot of your ailments will start to heal. Your aches and pains will go. But if you have had surgery, and like I say, surgery creates more scar tissue in the body than anything else over any diet, because you have a scar now from that surgery. What is a scar made out of? Tissue, scar tissue. It just makes sense, guys. And people try to, when you go to the hospital, it's like, there's no other option. There's a lot of other options. You walked in there, so why don't we start stretching? Why don't we start doing mobility exercises? Why don't I start to learn how to hydrate my cells properly so the tissues can get that? Why don't I learn how to go in and lovingly take either like a gua sha stone or a shot glass and lightly pull those fibers apart that have put me up in bands and strands? And so when you have a scar tissue issue, emotion can get tied into that. So I broke my jaw, and after I broke, I'm not talking about the emotion that I stored in here, and it could very much well be. I used to be a very angry, toxic kid when I was younger, and I used to do some things that were pretty self-sabotaging. But it comes to a day when it's like, when are you going to wake up? I want to make sure I'm here as long as possible. I want to make sure I feel as vital as possible for the friends and family that do need me, that do want it around, because I want to be that one guiding light. Every family just needs but one. And as soon as they start seeing the changes in you, either you're going to get pushback or they're going to be like, hey, maybe I can change too. And so, like, I've had many different ailments and broken bones. I used to be pretty radical. And so I've broken my jaw, my collarbone. They wanted to put a plate in my collarbone. They wanted to wire my jaw shut. During these certain situations, even if I was younger, I know that I want to heal it as quick as possible. The first time I flew to Australia to do the training in Adelaide, and that was about 4 years ago, I broke my jaw the day before. And I'm like, damn, I have to train a course. This is going to be a little difficult. And I trained a course talking like this the whole time. I got through it, and I did it, and I got really good at talking like that, but it's not really like what I wanted. But what did I do immediately? I had to take massive personal action. So we have this thing, and don't go out just to find a calcium product, because calcium products will leach the calcium from your bones. It's a fact. You can search it up. There's tons of scientific proof behind it. There's one form. Doctors sell it. We sell it. It is a thing. It's called calcium ion therapy. And it is expensive. But what is your worth? So that calcium ion therapy, and it's so weird. I don't know the exact structure of life. There's no way. It's like, what happens after you die, Sage? Couldn't tell you, but I'm excited to see. And so I don't want to go there yet, but I am. It's going to be a cool adventure. And so in general, right when I broke my jaw, I was 21 years old, and I was like, damn, I need to heal this as quick as possible. I got to go train a course. And I was training a course. I wasn't eating, so I was going on a fast and I was doing juices. But I was taking calcium ion therapy. And I have practitioners that I've trained in Australia that I would contest for this. 7 days later, I was able to start eating foods again because I was taking so much ionic calcium. And it's so funny, breaking the jaw wasn't the pain. I was taking so much calcium at night. During the day, your body's kind of feeling good. You wake up, you rested, you're feeling pretty refined. When you go to bed at night, that's when things start to settle. That's when the mind calms down. And then it starts running. And that's when you feel all these aches and pains or all the traumas, and you start replaying all these failures that you've had. That's the time to like get into your breath and truly rest. But I was taking so much ionic calcium that it was hurting more in my jaw than when it was broken. And that's because it was actually taking the calcium and putting it back into the bone, but I was feeling it happen. And so I was feeling so achy every night. During the day, I could get through it. At night, I was in agony because it was putting the calcium back into the bone to heal it as quick as possible. Same thing happened with my collarbone. So calcium ionic therapy is so amazing to get your body there, because now it's like a bone density epidemic out there. 90% of people have osteopenia, osteoporosis, bone on bone. Where is all this calcium coming from? We're leaching it from our bones to buffer down the inflammation throughout our systems. And so we really got to be mindful of what we're putting in. And so I was super mindful. I was really on top of the diet. I was eating because I was getting hungry at certain points. And you can cheat a little bit. I was having some noodles at night because I could swallow them whole. But that was just something to feel a little bit more fulfilled than just water and juice for the complete 7 days. So being super mindful about that. But what kind of emotional state are you in when that happened? So you get into a car accident. Sure, you shattered some bones. But in that car accident, you lost a family member. And now that trauma from that actual accident is getting stored within the tissue. So now our tissue integrity is not just weakened from our diet, not just weakened from the accident, but now we're storing emotional blockages within the body. So when we do non-surgical and we have main areas, it can happen anywhere. I've worked on people's big toes and they start screaming and freaking out about a trauma that happened in their past. But the main areas that we do store it is going to be our TMJ, that temporal mandibular joint, because it's everything I've said and everything I've had said to me, and you piss me off so much and I'm clenching my jaw and angry, that this, if you have issues anywhere like from tinnitus, what do you not want to hear? So it's not just an emotional issue, guys. It's not just a physical issue, guys. It's not just a nutrient deficiency, guys. It's the umbrella. And that's what we try to teach at the DACA Detox Braveheart Nation. We try to show you that it's not just nutritional, it's not just emotional, it's going to be an all-around healing. And so, what do you not want to hear? And then clearly you have too much fungus in the gut that's causing inflammation within that area, choking it off. But what have you said? Why have I said it? That stuff is going to get stored in that area, super emotional area. The neck is another very large emotional area because I'm so fearful. I need to shoulder up. The world's always attacking me. I just need to create this turtle shell behind me of protection. Another large area is going to be the gut. The gut holds so many emotions because nobody wants to go looking in your poop. There's a lot of shit in there. And so it's going to be pretty putrefied. And a lot of emotions will get tied into that. How many times a day do you eat in a parasympathetic state? Most people are always running around and go get that quick fast food and get that here and get that there, that your body's outputting all this energy and I'm trying to focus elsewhere. There's not enough blood in my stomach to even break down because my hydrochloric acid isn't even wanting to hang out there and be super sufficient enough to break down the foods to get absorbed through the small and the large intestine. So it's about being mindful about all these certain things. So as I'm doing that, you can have all these, and then the pelvis, that's our root chakra. The pelvis is another very large emotional area because it is our soup bowl. That's also where it's private. We've kind of concealed ourselves. There's a lot of traumas that people do go through. So when you're doing Wolfe non-surgical, you can have a lot of these issues start to stem up and you'll see people. And I say it lightly, like it's almost like small exorcisms. You're going to watch people freak out, moan, groan, cry, scream. And they have to allow this emotion to come to the surface and feel it in the area to truly be able to release it. but we have to say, don't relive it. You have to breathe through it. And with each individual breath, I am blowing that weight off my chest. I am not attaching myself to that anymore. And so it's about being super mindful of our bodies, guys. So are you getting the proper water? Everybody in here, women, 2.5 to 3 liters of water a day. If you don't have a structured water unit, reverse osmosis is dead water, so you better be putting a lot of minerals into it. If you have a Kangen unit, that's good. You can mess with the pHs, but it just shows that your body's already too acidic, so you have to mess with the pHs. Some days I feel not enough acid, some days I feel too acid, so you have to switch it up. So it really depends on what you have. Water is going to be super important. So women, 2.5 to 3 liters a day. And that's going to be to keep things running. If you're somebody who exercises a lot, Tom Brady drinks 47 cups of water a day. That is insanity. But the amount of output he does, the amount of sweating he does, he needs to keep his cells functioning properly. They're 92% water. And so you're going to want to take pink Himalayan salt is going to have 62 minerals in it. That's good. If you can get Celtic salt, apparently there's like a Celtic salt epidemic out here in Australia right now, and everybody's fighting for it. So that has 82 minerals. That's going to be a lot better for you. The best would be, you can find it online. It's called like Baja salt from Mexico, and that has 92 minerals in it. And so Baja salt will have the highest, but you know what? If you get the Celtic salt, great. If you don't do that, get pink Himalayan salt. Other than that, table salt needs to go. So you're going to want to make sure you're getting the proper water in every single day. And then are you trying to push here and there? Are you trying to push it here and there to do some form of fastings? You don't need to do a fast all the time, and start off small. Can you make it 16 hours without food? Can you make it 24 hours without food? If you're even too afraid of that, just do a watermelon fast. Survive off of watermelon for 24 hours. Also, watermelon fast will help if you do have a lot of kidney and gallstones. You'll notice you might flush a lot of those out during that time as well. But start off with something small. Do a juice fast. Then build your way up to it. You look back to nature, guys. Gorillas, one of the strongest animals in the world. They're not eating meat. They don't also eat all the time, but when they do, it's always bamboo, some form of stuff. And people are like, I need to get my meat in every day just because that's where you get your protein. That is so not true. We got to look back to Mother Nature. When we were way back when, you had to fight. You had to go on a 3-week hunt to go get that meat. And it was a reward for the body. Did you really deserve those 2 to 3 meals today? I really highly doubt it, because I know I didn't. And so I try to have 1 large meal a day, and sometimes I'll do a smoothie and a large meal. But then I try to do intermittent fasting here and there, and I don't have a lot to lose on me, but no matter what, people say like, what if I lose all this weight and I'm already so thin? You know what? It goes for the killer cells first. So when you do put the food in, you're going to get twice the amount of absorption, and you'll actually hold the weight better, and it'll turn more into muscle tissue if you are expelling some form of energy to stimulate your body. There's only 3 ways to move the lymphatic system, guys, and you have 6 major detox organs. And a lot of them are right in here. So if this is really bad and sluggish, which is going to be like your kidneys, your liver, your skin is your largest detox organ. So if you have skin issues, we know that you're rotted a little bit from the inside out. We got to take massive personal action. And when I say massive personal action, it doesn't mean like change everything right now. It means take baby steps. Go by how you feel. You have to enjoy getting healthy, or it's going to slap you in the face and you're like, I just can't do this anymore. So we have to take light baby steps and love the heal, love the process of getting healthier. And so it's taking the time for ourselves. And so what kind of issues do you struggle with? So we start off with the water, then we go to the diet. Most people that are pretty putrefied, I won't put them onto immediate salads right away. I'll do lightly grilled or steamed vegetables. We also need to be really adamant about our food combining, because our food combining is crazy. I just had a client the other day, and he was putting such a plethora of vegetables into his blender drink because he wanted to try to get all the nutrients in at once. And this guy, such a beautiful heart. He's just really lost because he thinks the world is just attacking all the time. And he's only looking external. There's no internal. And so it's like you tell him one thing, and I'll try to do it tenfold. That is not the way to go. So he puts a plethora of vegetables into a blender, and he does this for a couple days, and he gets such bad compaction because his gut can't break it down because he doesn't have the proper microbiome that he ends up in the hospital. And so getting healthy can't be an immediate thing. We have to really look where we're at as a whole and say, I'm going to take these baby steps to get me there. And these baby steps are through love and light. And so first off, can you get the water in every day? That's my favorite. Can you get the water in every day? If you can get the water in every day, then we go to start to change the diet around a little bit. Then we'll go to like steamed vegetables, lightly grilled. Smoothies are fantastic, but always watch how we're combining our foods because some foods don't go well with others and will actually set off a chemical imbalance within that makes it really hard on your gut bacteria. And a lot of people nowadays too will go out and be like, oh, kombucha crazy. I love my kombucha and I love my... You're fermented already. You're rotting. So why are we going to put more fermentation in there? So I think kombucha is wonderful. I think sauerkraut and kimchi is wonderful. But you know what? It's wonderful after a fast because that good and bad bacteria will now create a great microculture in there. But if we microculture too often, some people stick with one singular type of kombucha. And that's not good either because then you're microculturing and you will actually end up creating more bad bacteria than good and you will end up putrefying your gut even more. So the world is kind of set up to make us fail. It's us taking action and being, where can I learn more? Where can I do more to actually want to take these nice loving steps to be the healthiest version of myself? And so there's so many tips and tricks out there that you can learn. You can take my number at the end of the day. Like, that's what we are for as a company. It's not like you go to your doctor, one pill, come back when you have other symptoms. I want to know when you're struggling. I want to know when you're doing really well. I want you to change these things up. And yes, it might take me a day or two to get back to you, but that's why we have an office of practitioners. That's why we have practitioners in the area. That's why you come take the courses to learn to be more mindful about yourself, to learn the non-surgical work so we can go in and help our families because we see them struggling. It's a scar tissue issue, but it started way down the line from putrefying the gut. But then it's like now they have scar tissue built up around their knees, their shoulders. It's bone on bone. No, it's not. If we get them on the proper diet, we go in lovingly. And yes, the work is intense, guys. You might have, like for some of the people here, you might have seen some videos of Dr. Wolfe doing it. He's trying to show results in a very short amount of time. So that is more intense than what it actually is in itself. You come to a session with me, we find that pain threshold that you have. And I work through love and honor and respect, and I find that with your body. And I'm going to go in, but I will push you a bit. And I'm going to show you how we're going to open up those tissues. And I do. We still have joints, tendons, and ligaments. And always, you've got to know this. If you start to notice that like your muscles are starting to atrophy a bit, and so that means like dehydrate, one leg looks a little smaller than the other, muscles are getting kind of smaller, I'm losing it a little bit, then I already know that your tendons and ligaments are pretty shot. Because tendons and ligaments are going to go before muscle belly does. Muscle belly contains so much nutrients that is like the last to go. We had to buffer down all the inflammation, and tendons will attach muscle to bone and ligaments will attach bone to bone. And so when we go in to do this, we want to go in, we want to rehydrate. So somebody can come into me, and if they're not willing to change anything, I'm not willing to completely break down the scar tissue in their body because it will come back. It's going to be an issue that will resurface because they're not changing the program that started it in the first place, which was the mind. And we got to be super mindful. Are you using your body? Are you waking up? Are you doing some light stretching? God blessed you with this thing. So use the vessel. That's what it's for. And so I want to do some light stretching. And if you can't stretch too much, like if you can't do too much exercise, get yourself a rebounder. And, oh, I should have touched on that before though. The lymphatic system moves in only 3 ways: sweating, peeing, and pooing. So if you're not going to sweat well throughout the day, we know our lymph system's backed up. If I know that I'm pretty compacted and I only had a little turd come out and blah, blah, blah and all that, I know my lymphatic system's backed up. If I'm not hydrating really well and I'm not going to the washroom constantly, I'm not flushing out a lot of that toxicity, so your lymphatic system is going to be backed up. Your lymph is your number one. And so today I'm going to touch on also belly button therapy and clapping, because I'll show you how to clap our lymph areas to get our lymph to flush a little bit, and I'll show you how to do some belly button therapy to pull some of these adhesions apart. And so what is an adhesion? An adhesion in your abdomen, it's like if I put like sticky tack or glue in between there and things are kind of sticking together now. And it's really not good when you have too many adhesion buildups, because then it's starting to create more tearing from the outside, like the outside of the organ tissue, that peritoneal. It's not just rotting from the inside, now it's being abrasive and rubbing from the outside. So you're getting double rubbed. And now it's really seeping out. And these are going to be the things that causes us for our body to want to leach that calcium, put extra fibrous tissue into the area, and now bind. Because healthy connective tissue, if I just had like my hands like this, yes, you have tons more striations than this would be. But this would be like healthy connective tissue. And then I tear it a little bit. Okay, that's fine, but I didn't really have a good diet. And so now I'm getting crystalline buildup in between that nice healthy connective tissue. So it's a little bit more stuck together. Then we continue tearing it. This is what I was talking about at the beginning. And we start to create a little bit of a mass. And so it's like, oh, I feel like a little knot in my shoulder. There's like, when I go to put my hands on my SI joints back here, because you have these 2 little nodules on your back, and you feel like a little bit of chunking going on. Now you have a little bit of scar tissue formation building up. And then over time, because you haven't paid attention to your body at all, it has now leached that calcium from the bones to mask it off. And you go to feel it, and it's like, is that bone? I don't remember that being there. And so what is a bunion? Bunion, it's just bone that you've created on your toe. That is a calcium deposit. That is what a bone spur is. And if we don't have the proper water, the proper essential fatty acids coming in from eating nice chickpeas, beans, legumes, lentils, and I'm not saying eating meat is bad. I've never said that once, but we don't really deserve it, like I said, most of the time. And we're too putrefied to truly absorb it. And are you getting good foods, guys? Like if you're eating fruits and vegetables, try to make sure it's organic. And most fruits that you should be eating, especially like I'll deal with a lot of diabetics. I don't want them on any fruits other than unless they end in berry. And those berries have to be organic, because that skin absorbs so many pesticides and herbicides when they're getting sprayed. They did a test a couple years ago. They took just regular strawberries from the grocery store. They juiced those strawberries, and there was enough insecticides to respray the crops with it. So we clearly know that if you are putting that into your gut, and guys, it's like I could just go on and on and on about like how many things. What are you cleaning your dishes with? Is it like certain packs of Dawn dish soap and stuff like that? There's going to be chemicals within that is staying on your dinner plate. Even when you go and it looks clean, there is some form of culture from that toxicity from cleaning. Now when we put our food on that plate and it's nice and warm, it's absorbing some of that, which is getting absorbed into the gut lining, which is now causing that cascade of what we've been going over right now. So it's about like, wow, we just live in a very toxic world, like I was saying. But you know what? Our bodies are so amazing. That's what our filtration systems are for. But how backed up is your filtration system? So where are you at? Are you staying in the present moment? Are you detoxing yourself on a daily basis? I don't want to hear that you did a week of detox. Health is a lifestyle. I love cheating, but I don't do it as often as I do good for myself. That's the main thing. Are you doing better than worse or worse than better? It should be an 80-20. And if you have a major autoimmune issue and something is really backed up, sluggish, and you're struggling a lot, try to be 100%. It's okay if you had the odd cheat day. but go hardcore. 90 days, 6 months. You've lived a lifetime of doing shittiness for your body. It's time to take some personal action and say, I deserve better. So let's just test it out. It's 6 months. It's 90 days. It's 30 days. Try to have some form of love for yourself inside. Find that little spark that wants to live a beautiful, blessed life. Because we all deserve it. But wherever you're going to hold yourself, and there's no judgment anyways. Some people will judge you, not me, because I've been there. I've done some bad stuff in the past. And that's why I had to do a lot of good stuff for me to get out of it. And because it becomes a cycle. I have kids who come in and they're like, oh, my kid just won't get off the video games. I'm like, take the console away. He's getting his only dopamine hit from that. Get him in a sport. Get him outside. Get him to do these beautiful things for himself. My kid's really overweight. Why are you feeding him the shit then? It's up to you. And the thing is, it's not you being a good mother, a good father by allowing this. It comes a time where you got to draw the line and say, I'm not just doing this for me now. If you want to live and you want to be in my realm and hang out with me, we got to we have to walk the walk to talk the talk. And if you're not going to, you're going to fall off, and that's okay too. But I am going to say, hey, from a distance. Because I don't want to be around that. Because it's not that I'm going to be doing it. And I may want to. Because if you drop that frequency low enough, you'll want to. But also, I don't want to watch you kill yourself. I don't want to watch that. That's sad. And that brings my frequency down then. Even if I'm not going to change my diet, I'm going to stay really good and you're going to do bad. Me hanging around you is, why the hell are you allowing it? You have to put your foot down at some point and say, enough is enough. It's time to put the cookies away, get out in nature, smile, put some good foods into your body, hydrate well, start off with some nice yoga stretching in the morning, some breath work to really oxygenate those cells. Don't immediately go to grab your phone first thing in the morning to set off your nervous system, because then I'm not getting, people sleep with this EMF right under their head, charging. And it's when are you ever in a parasympathetic state? It's impossible to be. And so, are you kind of creating the life you want? Or are you just living life to try to get through it to the end? We're all going to die anyways. There's no getting out of this place alive. So why don't you try to enjoy it? It's so important. And that's why we also teach, and see that right there? For some reason, we get bouts of little bits of nervousness. Little bits of was I going to stumble on my words? I don't care. I'm here to teach you what I can. But I snapped it because I was I got this. That's why we have some form of love bands here. Do we have them here, Andrea?
Yes, we do.
Beautiful. Everybody should take one of these when they go to leave. And this just says, it's Braveheart 3, 2, 1, I got this. Every time I go to snap it, or anytime I feel really anxious or worked up, I'm just going to snap that. And it's positive affirmations you got to do, because you have to fake it till you make it first. Because sometimes you're not just going to be there. You got to fake it a little bit and try and try and try and fail again. Get up, try again, do better. It's okay. You're allowed to do all these things. And so I look at this throughout my day. If I start getting nervous, I work with clients all day and I feel a little bit run down from a certain client, or I had a couple have big emotional releases and I drop my frequency. Somebody says something to me, or I am just not doing well in my own relationships. It's no. I am present. I am love. I am light. I'm in the moment. I got this. These positive affirmations constantly, you say it long enough and strong enough, it will instill into your cells. Your cells all have a membrane. My feet cells are different than my hand cells. They all are communicating though. And so is the communication coming through in a positive way or a negative way? And so what is happening? So as we're doing this, I'm here to talk about, sure, non-surgical work. But I can only talk so much about the non-surgical work because it's a scar tissue issue, guys. You have some form of debilitation. I'm going to take questions in a little bit after I just go over belly button therapy and clapping here. I want anybody to ask me questions for the last 20, 30 minutes. That's what I do at the end of any lecture. We can't really do consults here. That's not really going to be a thing, but I want questions. And so think of what you struggle with on a daily basis. What kind of are you having a hard time with? Do you have a family member that has this and that? And I'll be here to answer that. But am I taking the time for myself to snap out of it? And how long do I want to stay in that stagnant emotion? And that stagnation is going to release that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, which causes that neck issue, which causes me to shoulder up, which causes me to bring down my frequency to create that lactic and uric acid that will bind you up and put you into those knots. And we all have some form of inflammation. We live a life, and that's totally fine. You roll an ankle, you have to put lactic and uric acid in the area to heal it. But once we release that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, it doesn't heal properly. We have now crystallization in the area. You tear too much, now we have a scar tissue issue. There's debilitation within the joint. So are we getting, and then it goes back to the nutrients. Are we getting the proper nutrients into the cells? If you're too toxic, we got to detox first to then get the proper oxygenation and nutrients into those cells. And when I talk about hormones, it's like women are just hormonal, men are not. I don't know about that. And so that is so false. And I was dealing with some clients recently, and he's like, oh, yeah, my diet's been changed, and I've been kind of going through some stuff. And he's like, it's so weird. I never used to think like this. But I'll be like watching the TV, a certain commercial will come on, and I'll start to tear up a little bit. And I'm like, that's totally fine. But the thing is, are these emotions controlling you, or are you controlling it? So, and we live in a world that is anxious. Everybody's anxious, full of anxiety. Every single person that I normally talk to, it's like, what do you struggle with? Anxiety. And so it's a nutrient deficiency. Are you getting enough vitamin D? And it also depends on your skin tone too. Somebody who is light-skinned, they go out into the sun for 30 minutes, they're going to absorb anywhere between 15 and 25,000 IUs of vitamin D. And that's not really enough for a daily basis. A daily basis, you should be getting 50,000 IUs a day. And somebody who's a little bit darker skinned, they're only going to get 7,000 to 8,000 IUs of vitamin D in 30 minutes. And it's just because of the pigmentation in their skin. But they age a lot better than we do. And so there's ups and downs to everything. But are we getting the proper vitamin D, vitamin K, vitamin E? Are we getting these nutrients into us that are actually absorbing into the cells? So if you're too toxic and you have a lot of waste buildup, we got to clean out first. After we clean out, we got to get the right nutrients into the cells so our hormones will level out. Your thyroid might be set off a little bit too, but that could be also a cellular dysbiosis. So creating that good bacteria within our gut and bad, we just want more good than bad. And so just being mindful about that, guys. That is a scar tissue issue. It's an emotional issue. It's a nutritional issue. It's an issue of not living our life to our fullest potential. And so I hope you guys got some good information just from having an understanding of what we do here at Braveheart Nation DACA Detox. I don't just want to teach you the physical. And you're welcome to just come out. Like if you're already a practicing practitioner and you want to learn body work, you could just come out and take the whole Wolfe non-surgical. Love to train you. You're going to learn the best body work that I've ever seen. And I'm not saying chiropractors are bad. I'm not saying massage therapists are bad. But you have scar tissue in the area, and they're going, and a lot of chiropractors, some have like nice that go in and just do like some pulling and some pushing a little bit, but they're going in and cranking on that spine and trying to adjust it back in and twisting that neck. Did we do anything with the scar tissue? No, we didn't. And so they're creating more micro tears in the area, which in turn will eventually make it worse. It will. And then you want to go for a massage? Just know you will never get any results other than a nice lymph drainage, and you calm down and it puts you in a nice parasympathetic. I think massages are fantastic, but are you going to fix your low back? That's kind of silly, because as soon as I hit the first red light, I'm back in contraction. And so it's amazing to go in and soften the tissue. It's amazing to feel nice and relaxed. But did you deal with the issue that caused it in the first place? And that's why I teach Wolfe non-surgical, because it is a scar tissue issue. And people don't realize that. We have to go in, we have to lovingly, and I will push you, but we have to lovingly pull those fibers apart to create nice, healthy lymph and blood flow to go to the area to reconstruct the tissue. And if you've let something go so long and so strong enough, it's not a 1-2 treatment fixes all. You're going to feel major relief, but your body has muscle memory. Your cells have a membrane. How long have you been limping around? If it's been like maybe a couple weeks, I'll fix it in 1 treatment, and I'll tell you that. If it's been a couple years, I've been stiff as a board, it's going to take a few treatments and you taking massive personal action to rehydrate that tissue, me going in, lovingly pulling that tissue apart to rehydrate it, you doing nice stretches, pelvic squats, activation by clapping. Clapping for an elongated period of time will stimulate more stem cells than going for a stem cell therapy. But you have to really clap. You can't just tap the area. Tapping the area won't do anything. And I'll have some people being like, oh, I clapped last night a couple areas. It's like, how long did you clap for? They're like 45 minutes. What'd you do? I did my shoulder, my hip, and my knee. And I'm like, no way, you kind of just slapped yourself at that point. So you have to clap for a elongated period of time. And at times it will start to hurt. So you take a little break. I'll go over it right now. So these are clappers, really inexpensive. And this is an amazing tool. I recommend, and I post this stuff all the time on the Doc of Detox on Dr. Dale Wolfe's Facebook page. I'll teach you how to take a shot glass or a gua sha stone, and you're going to go in, and they don't work well with muscle bellies because it's too deep, but you can take a Theragun or a massage gun and soften that tissue. But then when it comes down to our joints, our knees, our hips, you can get in, because it is more bony areas, we can grind with a gua sha stone and a shot glass against the area to help break up, some of that fibrous tissue. And so, gua sha stones and shot glass, absolutely fantastic. Clapping is super duper important. One side has like little nubs and one side is flat. The flat side is going to be more so for stimulation afterwards. I normally want, other than on the face. The face is always the flat side because it hurts too much with the nubs. So I would gua sha stone first, or I would use a one-shot therapy first, and then I would clap with the flat side. Other than that, I'm going to go over our lymph areas. So we have our pocket, we have 1 cubital fossa here, and this is where our lymph nodes hang out. We have elbows, we have armpits, we have neck, we have upper chest right below the clavicle, we have our groin, and then we have behind our knees. You have some really tiny ones down here, and then some in the back of the head. Those don't really matter as much to really get a nice lymph drainage going. But when I clap, if you're going to clap, I usually tell people to take 2 areas apart a day because it's going to be 5 minutes per area. Nobody's going to clap for 3 hours. And so when you're clapping, and you can see, I clapped the other day here though, I have a couple bruises. And so from that, and it's cool because this is where it goes back to emotion and trauma will stay within the tissue. I've broken some bones. I've had to go to the hospital for a couple, when I was 14, got attacked by a dog, broke my arm in 3 spots. And for some reason, I am pretty vascular, but the nurse couldn't find my vein. I don't know what she was on. And so she just kept poking around to find my vein. And that jabbing from that caused a little bit of trauma to the tissue. So I'll clap this area really hard and I'll have little dots pop up on my vein from where the trauma happened of her going in and out of the vein, trying to actually get into it. So I'm going to use the flat side for my lymph areas. And I don't want it, we're not tapping. I want to clap, it's stinging right now. I just had a little bit of goosebumps come up the back of my neck. And it burns, and I'm okay. And then you're going to get to a point where you're like, okay, that's pretty intense. You're going to stop. Take a break. As soon as I stop, the pain's going to subside. Give it about 10, 15 seconds, and then you're going to hop back into it. And if you do this really thoroughly, you might start to see yourself go black and blue. And if those areas go black and blue, or if you're somebody who walks against things, or you wake up and the next day and you're like, I have all these random bruises around my body. I know that to a degree, you have a blood toxicity. So if that blood is toxic, we know our gut is putrefied. We have some stuff to flush out. So you're going to do 5 minutes on each individual elbow, cubital fossa area. Then you would do 5 minutes under the armpits, Each individual one. Take the breaks as needed. And I don't want you, when you're doing it at home, you're not doing it over clothes. You want to do it on direct skin. Then you're going to do the neck, really clapping either side of the neck. Coming right under the mandible, I'm going to stimulate the whole side of my neck. One side and then the other side. I do have to say, the left side is more important. They're both just as important, but the left side will filter out throughout a 24-hour period 1 gallon of lymph, because that deals with my side of my head, my shoulder, and my abdominal cavity. The right side is only going to deal with my right side of my neck and my shoulder area. So it only goes through 1 can of pop, 355 milliliters of lymph on the right side, 1 gallon on the left side. So if you really have a lymph backup, the left is slightly more important, but I want both. So you're really clapping each individual side super thoroughly. Then I'm going to come below the clavicle area, each individual side. 5 minutes in here, 5 minutes under here. Stimulate that. Then we're going to come down to the hip flexor in the groin area. So underwear, pull it to the side, or if you're in bed at night and you're nude, perfect. Clap the side of the lymph. And even if you have lymph nodes there, totally fine. You're not going to pop one, burst one. Good luck. You would have to clap so freaking hard and have some form of compact. It ain't going to happen, I promise you. And so clap those lymph really well. And then once again, 5 minutes behind the knees. Clapping is going to become your best friend. If you have an area of concern of my hip is calcified, my knee is really bad and inflamed, you want to start with the side with a little bit of nubs on it, because they will go in a little bit deeper and help break up some of the fibrous tissue that's built up in the area. So once again, it would have to be on skin, and I want to stay relaxed, but you're clapping all around the joint, and it's going to sting a little bit. 2 to 3 minutes, okay, that's all I can tolerate. Little break. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The pain's gone. I'm doing it again. And I want to try. If it is a calcified area, you need to do it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Really stimulate. And if you go black and blue, it's okay. It's just showing that there's toxicity within the area and it's coming to the surface. Some people who have varicose veins on the back of their legs, clap them really thoroughly. I just had a client in Sydney who has bad varicose veins. And she just started to clean up her gut a little bit more and start clapping, and her veins are already starting to subside. So it can happen. The cooler thing is about the sicker you are, the more results you'll see in a short amount of time. The healthier you are, you don't really see as much. But when it comes down to the gut, it takes time to change that microbiome. Like I said, somebody who ate really bad to go really healthy, 6 months to get accustomed to the diet. And that just means now you can finally absorb. So it's not like you just did it. It's done. It's a lifestyle, guys. So clapping around areas like this of concern is going to help break up a little bit of the fibrous tissue, and that is the side with nubs on it. We sell something like, Andrea brought a lot of her products here today, and like start with the daily cleansing tea. It's made from a couple natural herbs. It's like milk thistle, blessed thistle, permission leaves, malva leaves, and marshmallow leaves. And then we infuse that tea with over 2,200 frequencies by shooting a laser through a bunch of crystals, so it just enhances it. And it's a light daily cleansing tea. And I tell people, like, that's a product I will take until the day I die. It is like about 72 cents a day. And it is a light daily cleansing tea that coaxes through the large intestine, helps picking up some of that plaque and toxicity. It goes through the small intestine to the large intestine. It even will go into the blood and the lymph, and it helps flush you out. Super amazing. Start with something so simple as that. And so clapping is really, really important. So fibrous, tough areas, start with the nub side. And I'm going to do that for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'll flip it to the flat side for stimulation of the circulation afterwards for about 5 minutes to finish it off. If you're doing your lymph areas, 5 minutes per lymph area just with the flat side. That is clapping. Now this guy is called belly button therapy. She has a couple kits here. Belly button therapy kits are so important because, like I said, that is our immune system right there. That is 80% of our immune system, right in the large intestine and the small intestine, but more gets absorbed in the large than the small. That's why we say it's our immune system. But if we have those adhesions, I'll stand up for this. So if we have those adhesions throughout my abdominal cavity, I want to place it in the belly button at the beginning. When you start, you're going to feel like there's slight discomfort kind of going on because you're a little impacted, you're a little bloated. But I'm going to put this belly button right in here, in my belly button. This little guy hangs out in here. And I want to do like my large intestine goes. So it's always going to go right leg first. That's going to be the cecum. The cecum, after you stimulate it, if you start getting like really itchy and irritable, it'll show that you have a lot of parasites going on because the cecum is from, remember, that ileocecal valve. So once that ileocecal valve gets jammed open, you're now having undigested food and indigested food filtering in and out to areas that it shouldn't be. So bacteria will build up pretty quick. So super important that we're going to go with the abdominal tract. I start with right leg. Well, I start directly in, belly button. Then I'm going to go to my right leg, cecum area. Then I'm going to head up towards my right hip, which is going to be my hepatic flexure. My right set of ribs. My hepatic flexure, that's going to be liver and gallbladder. Then I want to head up towards my sternum, xiphoid process area. If you have a hiatal hernia, don't head up. I want you to head down. So if I'm somebody who, like, every time I eat, I get like really bad gastrointestinal bloating, I get a little bit of acid reflux, you're going to actually place it there and head down, because that just means that when you put certain foods in here, that your stomach is so inflamed that it is now pushing up on your diaphragmatic hole, and now that might end up eventually popping through the diaphragmatic hole by the stomach sphincter to create a hiatal hernia. Some people say, I think I have a hiatal hernia. That's impossible to think. You would know. You would see like an egg sac of tissue up in here. If not, you just have really bad indigestion, gastrointestinal bloating right in here, and that stomach is pushing up on the diaphragmatic hole. So if you're somebody who's super acidic like that, I always try to say first thing in the morning, get a good organic kind of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a warm glass of water will neutralize the acidity, and it will calm that down. So if I'm somebody afterwards who gets really bad gas and bloating, super fantastic for that as well. But I'm placing it right here. And if I would head down if I have any of those issues. If you don't have those issues, great. Then you're going to head up towards that diaphragmatic hole. But I want you, and when you're doing it, some people will go immediately and they're just like really trying to like ham it out. And I'm like, no, this is because in my belly button, that's where the vagus nerve comes down to, and it branches out like a tree. It should be where I'm staying in my breath and I'm lovingly kneading that apart, having fun with it. And I'm just getting into it and I'm like working it around. So I'm going to start in the belly button after I came from right leg, right hip, sternum, left set of ribs, stomach and spleen. Then I'm going to come down to the sigmoid area. That's going to be the last turn of my large intestine. That's going to be where most colon and rectal cancer kind of resides, because it's the last turn where people can get like strictures within that area from trying to squeeze everything out that I'm not being able to get out during those bowel movements. And then I always want to finish heading down to either my prostate, uterus, or ovaries. I only have one, don't worry. And so I'm going to just go through that demo quickly. So I just stay in that breath and I knead, and I'm kneading in. And what this also does, it's going to stimulate your Kundalini energy, so it's going to make you feel more balanced. It increases the core temperature by 2 degrees, so infection can't really survive well when you do that. Of course, your core temperature will drop back down again as you go about your day, so infection can then kind of start once again, but it's good to do on a daily basis. And first thing in the morning, normally I would do this in bed. And then after I do that, I would go to the washroom, spit, because what's been marinating in my mouth at night from me falling asleep and opening that up and allowing all this bad bacteria to hang out, I do not want to drink water first thing in the morning. You go spit, you brush your teeth, then you get the water, because then you're actually getting a good flush out. I don't want to be putting that crap down there. So, staying in the belly button. Then I'm just going to angle up and down to the right. Head towards that. Cecum. Then each individual area should be about 15 to 20 seconds. Then I'm going to head up towards my hepatic flexure, liver and gallbladder. And I'm going to do this all within the belly button itself. But if I felt really bad irritation, I'm going to be like, my liver's not too happy right now. I'm going to remove it and place it under the set of ribs, and I'm going to lovingly knead in each direction to stimulate that liver a little bit more, because that's where I was feeling most of the impaction and bloating. Then I'm going to head up towards, I'll stay within the belly button though for you guys right now, and then I'm going to head up towards that xiphoid process. Then I'm going to hit my spleen and stomach, working over there. And I'm just staying in that breath, nice and relaxed, going not to pain. I don't want it to be like, oh, this hurts so, like, it's slight discomfort. It's like, kind of sticky. Then I'm going to head down towards my sigmoid, last turn. A lot of people will feel pain in this area because, like I said, it's the last turn of the large intestine. A lot of putrefaction happens there. Then I would just want to finish coming down towards my prostate, ovaries, or uterus. And like if I was a woman and I had some form of like cesarean or a hysterectomy or something like that, I'm just going to get it right above the pubic ledge, and I'm going to knead in each direction. So I'll pull up, I'll pull down. If I had prostate inflammation, if I had prostate cancer, I'm going to place it right above that pubic bone, and I'm going to work into it to stimulate, pulling up, pulling down, pulling to the sides, because I don't know how the scar tissue formed until we get in there. So we go in to play all the angles to open up that fibrous tissue to create a nice form that things can start to move really well. So that's belly button therapy, but like I said, you don't need to keep it in the belly button. If like another area was kind of causing you some discomfort, you're going to remove it, place it, and I'm going to work that cecum really well. And I'm just going to hang out in the cecum for a bit and stimulate that. So, belly button therapy, really inexpensive. If you don't want to get a belly button therapy kit, take a spatula at home, put a sock over the spatula, tape that sock, and then you'll be able to knead. You just don't want to put the wood directly on. It's a little abrasive and can kind of cause irritation, so be mindful of that. So, belly button therapy, guys, super, super effective, really healing. Clapping, these are 2 things that you can do at home. Check online, I'll post it in the next day or 2 as a 1 a day, how to do one-shot therapy to break up around more like knees, ankles, shoulders, wrist and hand. You can do a little bit of like face lifting and kind of, because people are like, you do non-surgical facelifts? Yeah, we do, because it's like keep everything in contraction, try to figure it all out for so long. It's like if I asked you to hold your fist like this for 5 to 7 minutes and move it around really freely, it's going to feel kind of stiff. So if I'm figuring everything out for the next 20 years and I just can't get into a relaxed state, I'm going to have some deep creases form. It's just what's going to happen. You put it into contraction for too long, that little bit of fibrous tissue is now holding on to it. So check that out in the next couple days. You'll see me do one-shot therapy for you guys. But these 2 things, super therapeutic. I tell you to get a clapper though, because if you're going to be constantly clapping, your hands do get tired. But I say clapping with your hands is so fantastic because it's a second stimulation. You have tons of meridians in your hands as well, so it'll kind of get other things flowing for you as well. So that is going to be me just kind of talking about Wolfe Non-Surgical, a little bit of the diet. I hope this was enlightening for everybody. We're going to take some questions now, if any of you have any. Yes, love.
Thank you very much. A lovely talk.
Ah.
Very enlightening.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I have an issue with my eyesight.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's the issue? Like, do you know, have you gotten any tests of what form? Like,
They say that it's macular degeneration.
Okay, so macular degeneration. Have you ever been in like, see, this is where I would like want to talk to you about like a few things.
Oh.
Sure, diet can be one. Fungus is going to be another, because this is a port. Our ears are a port, our eyes are a port, our mouth and our nose. So any kind of issue in this general area, it could be, do you like your sugars, your wines, your breads, anything like that in the past that caused a lot of inflammation in the general area?
Alcohol, I love it.
Beautiful, and I love your honesty. You're fantastic. So that alcohol is going to cause such a fungal backup within your nasal cavity that now something is going on where it's causing inflammation within your optic nerve to cause the slight macular degeneration. So there'd be some products I could recommend, like the Fulvic Nano Eye Drops and the C60 are going to be great for you. I would be clapping. So right on the back of our occiput, we have these two little, they're called occipital condyles. They're little bumps. And you're going to take a shot glass and you're going to watch the video on Dr. Wolfe's page in the next couple days. And I'll show you how to go in and really open up the scar tissue built around that. And if you're going to clap, you're going to lightly start clapping around your ocular bones to really stimulate that. I want you to be eating lots of leafy greens and carrots. Those two are going to be the best vegetables to help with eyesight in general. And then watch your hydration. It would be good to clean some of the fungus out of the gut, and you will see changes in your eyesight. No problem. Yes?
What's the best thing for the bone on bone?
So bone on bone would be, if you're not, like product-wise or like working-wise?
Either either.
So product-wise would be, I really do, darling, in your situation, you have the most beautiful heart. But the thing is, you filled yourself up with food to fill up your heart because there was something missing at some point. And so we have a lot of stagnation in that waist coming down to cause a lack of circulation to the hips and the knees. So I would want to go in, do non-surgical for one. You're going to check out our video in the next day. I'm going to post it up for you, how to go in and really grind that scar tissue out to start to kind of get more mobility. And then the ionic calcium, because the bone on bone, we've displaced so much calcium to that area, we want to get it back into the bones.
Is the slapping any good for it?
So fantastic. This is what I want. And you're going to start with the like the little tough side. You gotta use it. And that's the thing. People say, what's it going to take though? What's it going to take, love?
I just put it in the drawer and forget about it.
No, that's going to sit beside your bed. And you know what? Do you forget about your knee on a daily basis, how it aches?
No, I don't.
Then goddamn, why are you forgetting about the friend that's going to help?
I don't know that that's good for my knee though.
It's going to be great for it. I want you to really start stimulating it, and it'll help break up some of that fibrous tissue.
Anywhere?
I want the sides, the top, and below. Watch out for the patella because it will be a little nervy. It might kind of give you a couple jolts, but you won't cause any damage. I promise you that.
So with the spikes or non?
Spike side first, and you're going to do that for about 10 minutes. And then you're going to flip it over.
Hang on, is that all up or each section?
No, 10 minutes all around, not just on one side. But yeah, but the thing is, because I want you to do that 2 to 3 times a week. But the first couple times you're going to bruise really badly, that you're going to afterwards, you're going to do some hot vascular flushing. So if you have a bath, you're going to put your knee in the bath.
I can't get in it, I've got to get on my knees.
No. But I don't even want you getting in the bath. I just want you sitting on the edge and getting the knee under the tap. And you're going to go hot water, as hot as you can tolerate on the air after you clap it. And then you're going to go cold water, as cold as you can tolerate. And you're going to go 1 minute on hot, 1 minute on cold. 1 minute on hot, 1 minute on cold. And I want a back and forth 4 times, because that is going to cause contraction and expansion of the blood vessels to flush the area out. So any area that I feel is like debilitating to me, if it was my back or my neck or my shoulder, my wrist, I'm going to put it under the tap, and you go to what you can tolerate as hot as you can, 1 minute, then cold for 1 minute. And that contraction and expansion will cause the flush in the area after you clap it.
What about that little number?
That's going to be the one-shot therapy. I love it. No. It's amazing. So you're going to, yeah. That is a calcium deposit on top of your joint.
Not a nice finger, is it?
I love it. You know what? It's a beautiful finger. But we want to make it prettier. And so we're going to take that one-shot therapy and we're going to go in. I want you to watch my video in the next 2 days. I'll post it up really quick. And you're going to grind along that. And it'll take some time.
So I can get it off?
Yes, you can.
Good.
You can get, because that's clubbing of the fingers. You can get those clubbed fingers back. I had a girl who had the worst carpal tunnel syndrome I've ever seen. She had claws.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 years later, but it took 3 years of her husband working on her, and her fingers are all straight, but they are a little bowed out at the joint still, because you can't completely reverse things to a degree when they're so set off. It won't just be back to normal. But she has mobile hands now,
Good.
so that can go.
Good. It's not attractive. Thank you, darling.
Yes.
My mum's 90, got dementia, she had a full broken femur, and she's just starting to try to walk now, but she's got muscle depletion. How do we build her muscle up?
So, in that general state, I would say start off with a rebounder. A rebounder will get her, because like you don't need to bounce on a rebounder, and you can find them online. They're going to cost you about $400, but it's good for her to get her lymph going. It's going to be light exercise, and the light exercise is going to start with this on the rebounder.
What is a rebounder?
So it's like a very small trampoline. It's a very small trampoline, and you'll see them online, a rebounder, and it'll come with, you can get the ones with handheld bars, and she can hold the bar. And since she's 90, I don't want her jumping like, no, that ain't going to happen. Start with walk from one side to another. That compression in it will make her muscles activate a little bit more to stimulate it. And then if she starts clapping the area, we'll get more blood flow to it to want it to kind of refurbish itself.
What about that product that you spoke of, the iron?
Ionic calcium,
Yeah.
that's going to be fantastic for her bone where it broke though. It'll heal it stronger than when what it was before with where she's at. And so the ionic calcium is going to be amazing for the bone. It won't help much for the muscle tissue, but then you could get her onto like the IGF 350. And the IGF 350 will help with the muscle tissue. And then I would put her on SON formula amino acids. It's like a pure just form of, it's like a tablet of just pure amino acids. So as she's activating her legs on the rebounder, she takes 2 of those pills, it'll want to go to the muscly area to kind of stimulate that a bit more.
Yeah, I've got a super confusing condition like a neurodegenerative disorder, like genetic hereditary thing, and but like I've been in the onset phase for about like 6 to 7 years. But prior to that, my functionality was full capacity. I could juggle 5 balls on the unicycle and do all sorts of things amazingly. And but now like I can't even. I'm struggling to walk properly and that. But I was wondering if there's a way, some magical muscle formula or something that could hopefully reactivate, regenerate neurological, neuromuscular system somehow reactivated.
So there could be something also going on in the spine. So you might have some kind of issues kind of happening in your spine where you're not getting proper communication. You could start off with doing something as simple as chewing on lemon seeds, my friend. Chewing on lemon seeds contain more lithium than any other food substance out there, and that'll reconstruct the cellular activity in the brain. It helps reverse Alzheimer's and dementia.
I got diagnosed actually with myotonic dystrophy as a whole muscular dystrophy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a puzzle to try to, because I haven't even had a beer for 4 years and I ain't real healthy and all that, but it's amazing. I mean, just try to get strength, it's unbelievable. I mean, some people, eat terrible, like, someone that, she said her grandmother lived to 100 and she ate the worst food ever, like candy, everything, terrible. And I haven't even had a beer for 4 years, or and I haven't had a Coke for 25 years.
But what do you eat most of the time?
Oh, I try to eat as organic as I can, healthy food, and take, spend a lot on supplements too and all sorts, but doing a lot, and I keep still, active, like I work out and stuff like that, but I'm not putting on any muscle mass. Yeah.
There has to be a malabsorption or a dysbiosis within your gut. Because I'm seeing like a little bit of bloatation on the side right now.
Yeah.
And so you, like I said, even if you are eating a bunch of vegetables and stuff like that, it might not be the right food combining for you where it is putrefying.
I eat a bit of fish and that because I know I'm a bit worried about, with the muscle mass, thing. Even like fasting might be good. I feel more clear-headed if I haven't eaten for, nearly a day or something.
Most definitely.
But I get a bit worried that if I fast, I might lose more muscle mass.
No, the thing is if you fast and then you get on the proper diet with your proper gut bacteria activating well, and so you can take my number at the end of today and we can have a phone call about this because I'd want to dive into truly what your day is like. And then I would get you, start chewing on the lemon seeds, my friend. It's just like, that's just a super simple thing. Then another product would be the Carbon 60. Carbon 60 is going to activate the cellular activity in the brain as well.
I tried perfect amino acids, like there's a company in America, I spent about $1,000 on them, but I didn't put on any muscle at all. But they say that's the perfect amino acid formula.
Then if you're not absorbing this stuff, your microbiome's off. There's something going on in the gut. Or you either mentally stress out way too much and are really hard on yourself where you're burning everything out. So it's one or the other. So at the end of today, take my number down. You're going to give me a call, and then maybe we'll chat this weekend. And I want to see exactly what's kind of going on in your daily basis.
What about the cannabis? You know, you guys have got it, you sell it, but in Australia, it's not illegal anymore. You can actually
I tried a little bit when I was in NIM, and it's got a bit of THC. I got a bit of a buzz from it. But I mean, like, I know there's the one without that. But I mean,
apparently the medicinal one they sell is not as good. Maybe look at a naturopath or look at getting it illegal. Sorry to say.
yeah, I mean,
It's all good.
Yeah. So it probably helps stress too and migraines that it's helped me with. And
Yeah.
just things, everything really, but you need to eat it. The cannabis oil's not just about smoking and like it helps you mentally and all this other stuff, but yeah, you got to eat it. It's
sure
very
that they'll be supernatural, superhuman.
So I'll give you my number at the end of the day, and we're going to chat about this, because cannabis oil can help, but that's not going to do anything for his muscle mass.
It's not, like it's not the end all, you know, whatever how they say that. It's about everything in general, like that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
It's about everything.
Yeah.
It's just that cannabis is so oppressed still that
For sure.
it's good anyway. It's, you know, yeah.
Do you combine your work with working with the subconscious mind?
The subconscious? Yeah, totally. Most
And
definitely.
do you have a way to reprogram those?
The reprogramming is like during the whole life coach, we teach you steps from like mirror work to recall healing to going back and changing some of the stories from certain traumas that have made you the way you are. And so, yeah, we do that.
Psychic thing, did you try that?
Psychic?
Yeah.
No, we don't go like, while back, like I've been certified in holographic kinetics. And so I'll deal with the spirit and certain things as well that have like taken form and maybe trickled down through a past lifetime into now to creating why you're doing something in this lifetime. But generally, we don't do anything with like the psychic like that, no.
No, that's like a technique, specific technique to change those programs, and that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, in the whole life coach, we show you programs on how to like rewire your own brain.
Okay, so there's programs there.
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to be consisting of the Wolfe non-surgical that I teach, but that Dr. Wolfe teaches, which is the whole life coach. We go from like mirror work to breath work to recall healing to doing all this sorts of stuff to help rewire that subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Hey.
Just a bit stuck on the neck things. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Gundry. He's a medical heart surgeon in America, and he talks about all the lectins that you take. So I don't know, like I'm sort of stuck.
Yeah, and so if you have really bad absorption, they will affect you. They totally will affect you if you have malabsorption. But if you have proper stomach acids going on and we've gotten a right microbiome, that is the number one thing. Like I say, it takes about 6 months to fully change. You're not going to have that dysbiosis between those foods. But if you're just like immediately throwing it in, a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, guys, thank you for so much for, yes? Vertigo. Okay, so you definitely have you been in any kind of form of accidents? No. Then you have a scar tissue issue though within the neck that is kind of choking off around your occipital ledge by C1, your atlas and axis. And so you can start to clap with the nub side on the...
I am not in mother either.
Good. Do you clap really hard on the back of the occiput?
No, I'm going to.
Okay, so we're going to do the neck and the occiput and start with the nub side as well. In the video, I will show you how to one-shot therapy along the occipital ledge to open that up. But then if not, I would see one of our non-surgical practitioners that are here and get them to open up the scar tissue that is causing some form of spinal fluid not coming up to give the proper communication to the brain. And then there might be a nutrient deficiency as well. Try the lemon seeds as well. Lemon seeds.
been like her told her. It's been going on for weeks, months.
Yeah, so something set off, and the thing is, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. So stress could set it off, dehydration can set it off, but it's a scar tissue issue, and that's it. But we can work that out. Yes? Yes, yeah, you got it. No, you want to chew them and you can swallow them. Like, it is not going to affect you at all. I would rather like you swallow, but like you could spit them out if you really don't want to swallow it, but you're going to let it marinate in your mouth while you're chewing them and hang it out for a bit. And then also, like, if you have like frankincense essential oil, putting 1 drop on top of the tongue, going to be great for the brain. 1 drop under the tongue, going to be good for the body. What? No, straight oil.
Another question.
Yep.
Diagnosed with pre-aneurysm, bulge in my aorta. Can you do anything for that?
Non-surgical. So I would either have you like book in a session with myself or one of my practitioners, and then we would go in and lovingly pull that tissue apart because there's some kind of form of contraction and a buildup there, not allowing things to flow properly.
Wow, I didn't know you could do that. Just thought I might have to go get cut, but I don't know.
No, because that will cause more scar tissue in the end, which you're going to end up probably having it come back.
So could one of your practitioners do that for me?
Most definitely they could.
Okay.
So if she was willing to go 100% all in, I'll tell you that. Because type 2, so easy. Type 1, if you're not going to be 100% in, you're 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out, there's not much I can really say is going to change unless the person's truly willing. It's going to help. All of the thing is like all of it's going to help. Even if she like had 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out, but like to get rid of it, you better be gung-ho hard. And I have had people who have been type 1 and aren't anymore. But it is an effort, and she has 2 years of hard work, 1.5 years of hard work. But you're going to notice changes all throughout the way. You're going to be like, wow, I feel so much better. Wow, these things aren't affecting me. But you have to be on the ball. So it just depends on where she's at. Well, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time with me tonight. I hope it was enlightening as it was for me. You have a beautiful drive home. Thank you so much.